on? It's the Gear Junkie Weekly Roundup alongside Mary Murphy and Sean McCoy. I'm Adam Ruggiero, and I'm back from France, and so much has changed. I used to sit over there. Oh, and of course, Laika's taking part as well. Mary exists. That's also new. What isn't different is that we are still recapping some of the week's biggest headlines and stories, and since I've been out and away, I will shamelessly take the lead and let you guys know where I was and why I was there.
And why we were all jealous of you.
I was in France visiting the headquarters of Decathlon Sports, and a lot of American consumers probably are unfamiliar unless you were reading GearJunkie.com in April when we did our first story on the brand. It is the world's largest sporting goods retailer. The reason you never heard of it is they didn't open their first full-fledged store until this year. And why is that interesting? Thank you both for asking. It's because Decathlon Sports uses a vertically integrated business model, which means that everything from research and development to manufacturing all the way through to sales and retail is controlled by one company. It's kind of wild. There's a lot to sum up. I'll write about it. You can find it on GearJunkie.com. Until then, I've talked to you both about it. Basically, the hook is you can get ostensibly really high quality gear for a fraction of the price. For example, like $30 road racing shoes or a $50 60-liter duffel, waterproof duffel. All really cool stuff, and they cover everything from virtually every sport. I'll start with Mary. What do you think Decathlon will succeed in the US, and why? Or why not?
I think they'll definitely succeed in terms of just entering the market with, like you said, this similar gear that everyone is used to buying and purchasing, but kind of on a different scale in terms of pricing, in terms of quality, being under that Decathlon umbrella, bringing that over. I think that'll be interesting to see how they do that.
It is a little bit different, though, because these are all going to be brands that nobody has ever heard of.
Right.
And it has a massive
They're
cult
already
following.
established in France and Europe, but not here.
Right, and the following in Europe and Asia is
massive.
Rabid. People love it. People know it. It's where they go for virtually everything.
What's an equatable name to Decathlon?
Well, so the example everybody throws out is like Trader Joe's, right? So Trader Joe's has been really successful in the U.S., even though they don't carry a single brand name that anybody recognizes. It's this perception of quality, unique offering, and overall value, which Trader Joe's nailed. And I think that's what Decathlon's going for. The difference is Trader Joe's isn't making their stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little bit cheaper. I mean, things are ridiculously cheap at Decathlon. Do you foresee it being a business model that American consumers will embrace? Because Europeans love it.
I think it's going to be a lot of a challenge for Decathlon, largely because I do not think that the American brands are going to sit back on their laurels and allow Decathlon to take their market share.
What can they do?
They can lower their prices.
Only so much.
They can continue pushing quality. And I think that those are the things we're going to see. Things like REI bringing in its own shop gear. So REI branded backpacks and jackets and things like that, I think are the sort of thing that they may have to start hitting lower price points and maybe sacrificing a little bit of the quality that's bringing their price points up. I'm not sure on that, obviously, but I think it's going to be a struggle because obviously Decathlon doesn't have a foothold yet. And if I was the one in charge of some of these large retailers, I would be staking my claim now and defending it with my marketing initiatives.
I think I agree with you there. I think the challenge largely is going to be competitiveness and how other brands become more competitive when they enter the market.
I guess I don't think Patagonia and the North Face can. I don't think they can cut their prices to anything resembling competition. I mean,
I don't think they will, though.
They would lose.
Resembling what, Decathlon?
Well, I mean, what you were saying is that they'll cut prices as a way to compete. But I don't think they can compete on price at all.
I think it's going to be more that the REIs of the world are going to have to start manufacturing their own goods at prices that compete with Decathlon.
But who is there besides the REIs?
Well, back in the day when I worked at Midwest Mountaineering, we actually produced our own jackets that were a similar concept, and they sold for a much lower price point than the North Faces and others, and they were a Gore-Tex jacket. Independent retailers have been known to do this in the past.
That's true.
Do you think this will benefit independent retailers?
I think it'll benefit consumers if this competition comes there. I don't know. For independent retailers, it might cut into market share, but I mean, you're also competing with Amazon. You're competing with a lot of other places that have low budget. I think one other concern I'd have if I was Decathlon is the European styling. You were just there.
Yeah.
How do you think that the styles
I'm like a
will fly?
quadruple XL in France.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a large in
The
Europe.
European styling, no, I don't. I guess besides sizing, which is, with the exception of shoes, like tops and bottoms apparel, sizing is definitely a little weird. But I think they account for that because everything that comes over here is warehoused in the U.S. and I don't know for certain, but I think they're just going to call an extra large a large or a large a medium, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I perceive that it's going to be a really slow curve. I don't think anybody in the U.S. is really going to buy into it for a while, but it's like IKEA, right? Like at a certain point, IKEA just blew up and it was word of mouth. And I think that's what Decathlon is going to hinge on, is that word of mouth. People that shop there, those early adopters, and then people see them. Like I showed it today on the video we did earlier. There's a $4 10-liter hiking backpack. It's $4.
That's an incredible deal.
Even if it breaks after you take it off the shelf, I still think you make money on the whole deal. I still think the value works out as such. Don't quote me on that. Anyway, so yeah, look forward to it. So far, Decathlon has, I believe they've got a test store, a full-fledged store, and they're opening up a third store around the Bay Area. They told me they have, of course they want to expand throughout the U.S., but they have to hit certain financial benchmarks first to prove that the concept is working here in America before they tweak anything, so stay tuned for that. Our second story goes to our new crack reporter, Mary Murphy, who has news on a very, very impressive new record.
Yes. So this past week, the IAAF World Half Marathon was held in Copenhagen, and 25-year-old, which I think is pretty young for any world title-holding runner, Geoffrey Kamworor, won the title and also beat the previous standing record for the half marathon. And he beat it at 58 minutes and 1 second, which is just insane. Under the 60-minute mark. He was almost under the 58-minute mark. And he beat the previous record by over 17 seconds, which, I don't know. Did you guys watch the video?
It's incredible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like looking out watching someone at a bicycler's pace.
Speed by you.
It's like you're at 13, 14 miles an hour that you're moving. I mean, it's an incredible pace, and it kind of blew my mind to watch that video.
Right. His official pace was 4:25, 4 minutes, 25 seconds, and 1/2 second the entire race. So he is holding that pace the entire time he's running. I run, but I've never even come close. I will never come close to that pace.
Do you think this is the most impressive record you've seen in a while? Is there anything that
in
comes
terms of
close to
running?
it?
Yeah. I think the other impressive part was he also beat the record distance-wise for 15 kilometers and 20 kilometers.
So he hit the record the whole time.
For every single mark, he was creating a new record essentially at how fast he was going, because of the pace he was keeping.
And he looked like he was working hard.
He was,
too.
It rained during the race. Running through the twisty, slippery streets of Copenhagen couldn't have been easy.
Yeah.
He hadn't run a half since 2014. He hadn't run an official race since the World Half Championships in 2014. So this was incredible. He ran it specifically to A, to run it, and B, to break the record. Like, that was his aim. So.
Check.
Super cool record.
Yeah.
And from there, we'll go to Jonathan Tiberius McCoy for your story, which is right in your wheelhouse, as always.
Might as well pick them that way, right?
Hunting, sharp objects, etc., etc. What you got?
Well, I just got back from a good hunt this last weekend, and we're talking about getting out in the field. A lot of people are going to be hunting this fall. It's that time of year. Go out and get your meat for the year. Nicole Qualtieri, our hunt and fish editor, wrote up an interesting article asking people around us first, but then she discussed what is the weirdest thing that you keep in your hunting backpack, and what are some odd pieces of gear that you might use while hunting. And I think a lot of them actually translate pretty well into hiking and other pastimes in the mountains, in the forest, in the fields. So one thing that I told her about that I like to bring with is called the Write in the Rain notebook. It's basically a waterproof notebook, and you can use it with a waterproof pen. And the reason that I carry this in the field is for a few reasons. Like, if you lose your buddy, but you plan to meet somewhere, oftentimes, and when you're hunting particularly, you're going to be off one place and your friends and the rest of your party will be separated. If you don't have good radio communication, if you don't have good cell phone service, you can leave a message on their windshield wiper, or you could leave a message for them at a rendezvous point. And you
Windshield wiper.
on their car, like on their car,
On
you
the
know,
dash.
like, on the dash,
On their
or whatever.
Trans Am, just like pop them a note.
Yeah, you know, whatever.
Kit.
Yeah. Lost. Come get me. Oh wait, I'm at your car. No,
Meet me for dinner.
yeah, thanks for dinner. It was a lovely night. I'm out of here. But yeah, it's a good way to communicate in an emergency. A second thing that you can do with it is obviously sign your tag. If you're that would be the pen. You need to have a pen in that when you're hunting because legally, most states, for sure Colorado, you have to sign your tag before you tag your animal.
Wouldn't it be advisable to use a pencil?
No,
If it's cold.
it would
pen's
never write on it.
No, but the paper's waterproof.
So the pen is a waterproof.
What if it's
pen.
cold? Marker, Sharpie?
I have never had a problem with that.
Oh, as a reporter, as a
right with
journalist
your own-
taking notes in winter,
With a
you've
frozen,
never.
no, I've never
it
had
never
a frozen
works.
pen problem.
I would say Sharpie.
You could write with your own
that's
blood.
that's not a
or
horrible
animal
idea
blood.
either.
Yeah, if you're. Why would you write?
Well,
with your
yes,
blood?
animal blood.
I mean,
Why
that's
use your own blood when you already have all
Yeah,
this?
that's a perfect.
Sounds
perfect
dangerous.
resource.
I'm covered in another animal's blood. I'll just cut myself now.
It's
Anyway,
clear
you were
that
saying-
neither of
you were
these two have
saying-
ever gone hunting, but yes, I
were
like your
saying-
idea with the Sharpie too. It's the same kind of thing, so I carry that. A couple others that we noted that I think are good are flagging tape, which a lot of people carry something like this, but like surveyor's tape, it's bright, colorful. I usually use an orange and bright pink, which are legal colors for visibility during hunting seasons. I actually use it not only to mark the trail if I have to follow a blood trail or to mark a way out if I may get turned around. I also sometimes hang a little bit of it on my backpack and my legs or somewhere on my body
For visibility.
for visibility during archery season, because in Colorado we have a mixed archery and muzzleloader season. If you're archery hunting, you don't have to wear legally blaze orange. However, there are people out in the woods shooting guns without scopes on them, and as much as I think most people are fairly safe, and I've never run in...
I don't think that.
It is. I mean, statistically, your chances of getting shot while hunting are vastly lower than dying in the car on your way to get hunting. It's not a common thing, but it does happen, and it's just a little bit of peace of mind to have some bright color on you when you're wearing mostly brown, walking around with people that you don't know out in the wood with guns. And so while archery hunting, sometimes I put a couple spots of that on me. And one thing that our writer liked a lot was the Kindle. She likes to bring a Kindle out with her because one thing that a lot of people know is you have to spend hours sitting very, very still a lot of the time, and a good way to pass the time is with a book. So those are a few of the weird things. What I was wondering is hiking, camping, because neither of you hunt. You know, you go down there. What are some weird things that you bring in your backpack, maybe that somebody else wouldn't have carried with them?
Mary?
Ooh, weird items.
What did you bring on your long pack rafting trip? Something unique.
Something unique. I don't think this is necessarily unique, but it's something I carry every single day, whether I'm like hiking or anytime I'm carrying a pack. Essentially, all slipping in there is a spork or a spoon.
Nice.
So, like, you need it for snacking. You need it to, I don't know, just have that little.
And that one made the list.
Utensil, yeah, it's a good thing to have in
Nice.
your pack, even if you aren't eating. It's there.
Useful for lots of things.
Yeah.
The one thing that comes to mind, it's a must for car camping. I probably wouldn't bring it serious backpacking, but if you're hiking less than like 12 miles, I don't know, I think it's worth the space in my pack. I have fire mitts.
Oh, the fire mitts.
My Campfire Gloves. They're basically forage gloves, and everybody thinks they're stupid when I pull them out. And by the end of the night, every other single person around the fire wants to use them, because inevitably you got to tend the fire, and people get tired of just grabbing it at quarter-second intervals or trying to poke with a big stick. And I just throw these gloves on and I just move the fire around, and it's amazing. It's like instead of throwing another log on, you can just flip your log the other way, and you get another 30 minutes of fire.
So those are just basically big, heavy leather
Forge
gloves.
mitts, yep.
And they're really cool. They go great with
They are
pocket bellows.
awesome, but I guarantee, if you get I think I got them for like $20 on Amazon, no joke, and I've now had them for probably 3 years. If you get them, people are going to make fun of you. You just have to persevere because they are awesome and so worth it.
Regarding that, when you say you pull them out and people think they're stupid, is that they don't know what they are yet? Or they think they're stupid?
No, I tell them what
matter
they are. I tell them this is, I can move around fire logs. Like, who needs to do that? And every single time, by the end of the night,
Especially
once
car
they've seen me,
camping. Yeah.
I've seen it go down. I mean, I've witnessed this, but again, pocket bellows and those together, you are a fire wizard.
I feel like a pocket bellows is really just like one of those
just
old
blunt,
radio
it's
antennas.
only-
Yeah.
You just like snapped it off
It
of
is.
a radio.
It's
and
exactly
like
what
it's the
it
exact
is.
same
But
thing.
they're only
and I'm
like $15, so they're
have-
like back down about that big, and you can really get a fire stoked.
I think my lungs are strong enough to rival your pocket bellows.
Maybe. Ready?
The die has been cast. All right, Kirk is giving us the wrap it up symbol. Any parting thoughts, Mary? What are you working on that you're excited about next week? Any stories on your docket?
I am working on a story about a new climbing brand
Nice.
that just came out. They're based in the UK. They're pretty cool. That'll probably go up this weekend, maybe tomorrow. Working on some ski films, some cool
stoke
sifting
level is
through
high.
Oh, it's that time of
my
year.
the
my
stoke.
stoke videos for the winter season.
That's fun.
Sean, what about you? What do you got going on?
Oh, we have a very cool video and story coming out tomorrow about a GPS dog collar that
GPS for the
wears.
GSP.
Yep, it's gonna be cool. I'm digging it so far. So watch for that review coming out probably tomorrow.
And for my part, I'm going to write up my decathlon trip, let you know what products specifically inside the stores you should be excited about, and write up a few reasons why maybe decathlon won't take off the way everybody hopes it does. So stay tuned for that. All right, until next week, I'm Adam Ruggiero for
Your turn.
and Mary Murphy and Sean McCoy. We'll see you next week.